The power of choosing you over the cycle. Sophia stood at her apartment window, watching raindrops trace paths down the glass. Her phone vibrated for the 12th time, that evening, all messages from Marcus. She knew the pattern by heart: the fight, his disappearance, then the flood of apologies and promises. For 3 years, she had been caught in this cycle, each time believing things would change. "I made a mistake," the latest message read. "You know how much I need you, please just talk to me." Her finger hovered over the phone. Part of her, the part that feared being alone, the part that still hoped, wanted to respond. But something had shifted inside her during their last argument, when he had dismissed her career ambitions as distractions from what really matters. What really mattered, she had finally realized, was not the relationship she kept trying to save, but the woman who kept getting lost within it. Sophia set the phone down without responding and instead picked up the acceptance letter from the graduate program 3 states away. The program she had applied to in secret, not daring to hope she would get in. The program Marcus had called selfish and unrealistic when she finally told him. "I choose me this time," she whispered to her reflection in the window. The decision wasn't dramatic. There were no screaming matches or ultimatums. She simply packed her essentials while Marcus was at work, left a note explaining she wouldn't be returning, and drove to her sister's house in the next town. From there, she would prepare for her move across the country. As she pulled away from the apartment they had shared, tears streamed down her face, not for the relationship she was leaving, but for the years it had taken her to recognize her own worth. The bittersweet pain of growth washed through her, and underneath it, something unexpected, a profound sense of peace. What Sophia experienced represents one of the most transformative decisions a person can make: choosing yourself over a damaging cycle. This choice to love yourself more than the pattern that diminishes you requires a spiritual strength many underestimate. The cycle of harmful relationships follows predictable patterns. First comes the tension phase. Small conflicts escalate, boundaries erode, and walking on eggshells becomes normal. Your authentic self begins to shrink as you adapt to avoid conflict. Next is the crisis phase. A significant boundary is crossed, promises are broken, or respect is abandoned. Your dignity and worth are directly challenged. Then comes the reconciliation phase. Apologies are offered, often with intensity that matches the violation. Promises of change create hope, and the relief feels like love. Finally, there is the calm phase. Things improve temporarily, reinforcing belief in the relationship. But slowly, inevitably, tension builds again as fundamental patterns reassert themselves. This cycle works because it exploits fundamental human needs: our desire for connection, our hope for redemption, and our fear of abandonment or starting over. Each phase is psychologically manipulative, keeping you invested despite growing harm. Spiritually speaking, these cycles represent energy drains that prevent your soul from evolving. Each turn of the cycle diminishes your life force and disconnects you from your divine purpose. What feels like loyalty is often fear masquerading as love. The signs that you're ready to choose yourself include recognizing patterns rather than isolated incidents, feeling more yourself when apart than when together, noticing how often your intuition is overridden by hope, finding your dreams and goals continually postponed, realizing the relationship drains rather than fuels your spirit. The path to choosing yourself requires reclaiming your narrative. Recognize how the cycle has convinced you that staying is strength when leaving might be your true act of courage. Rebuilding sacred boundaries. Remember that boundaries are not selfish, they are the definition of selfhood. Without them, who you are gradually dissolves. Reconnecting with your future self. Envision who you might become if your energy went toward growth rather than survival. Let that vision pull you forward. Redefining love. Understand that love should expand you, not contract you. True love, including self-love, creates space for wholeness, not fragmentation. For those who recognize themselves as perpetuating cycles that harm others, there is a different but equally important path. Face your fear of abandonment. Often, controlling behaviors stem from terror of being left. Healing this wound is essential for breaking the cycle. Develop self-regulation skills rather than expecting others to manage your emotions. Seek help outside the relationship through therapy, spiritual community, or support groups designed for your specific patterns. As for Sophia, the months following her departure were not easy. There were nights of doubt, moments of loneliness, and the discomfort of building a new life from scratch. Marcus alternated between pleading messages and angry accusations. Each time, with support from her sister and new friends in her graduate program, she maintained her boundary. 2 years later, standing at the podium to present her research at a conference, Sophia caught a glimpse of her reflection in the window across the hall. She barely recognized the confident woman looking back, not because she had become someone new, but because she had finally become fully herself. That evening, she wrote in her journal, "Choosing me wasn't the end of love in my life. It was the beginning of the most important love story I'll ever know." Remember, choosing yourself over a harmful cycle isn't selfishness, it's sacred preservation of the unique light you bring to this world. The most profound act of love is sometimes walking away from what diminishes you. And the voice that whispers stay out of fear is never as wise as the one that says go out of. Love for yourself. Love yourself loud enough to leave, and in that courageous departure, you'll find you've arrived exactly where you were always meant to be, in full possession of your worth, your power, and your purpose.